Welcome to LC Screen Talk. My name is Larry, and this is my review of Sicario, Day of the Soldado. Like many others, I really love the first Sicario film. I thought it was just a really tense, really brutal, but beautiful film, well acted across the board. So, when I heard that most of our team was on board again, I was pretty excited to see this sequel. I was bummed that Emily Blunt in particular was not back, but I was still excited to see what experience we were going to get with Josh Brolin and with Benicio del Toro's characters, so I was ready. All of the trailers for this film that I saw looked very good and very much in the same vein and atmosphere as the first. So, how did the film itself actually turn out? I thought it was a good, mostly competent film that definitely wasn't great and a big step down from the first. So, let's go ahead and talk about those positives first. Well, the acting was spectacular. Benicio del Toro in particular was absolutely fantastic. I really loved this physical acting he did in this film. There's a sequence in particular where he's asked to really lay it on the line in giving a physical performance, and he's so good in that part. But really, he has so many layers and so many different levels to his performance. It was actually spectacular. Josh Brolin was also very good. His character just has less outright range compared to Benicio's, but he still delivered the character itself very well. And all of our supporting cast was mostly good as well. But really, Benicio del Toro gets the shine because he is spectacular in the film. And the direction is also very good. It's a beautiful, beautiful film. The cinematography is gorgeous, and again, right in line with that first film. The directing style is very good. The score is also really, really good. I know that it is taken pretty much from the first film, and they gave a beautiful in memoriam type message at the end for Johan Johansson. And it's a very simple score. It relies heavily on just a motif that gets altered and gets added to or taken away from, but it's such an effective score for being so simple. It creates such an atmosphere and creates so much tension without anything needing to even be on the screen. And there are several moments in this film that are just super tension-filled. I don't think it ever quite matches the best set pieces from the first film, but there are at least several in this film that are really tension-filled. They have you on the edge of your seat, particularly in the third act. It's like you can't breathe because it's so tension-filled. And when looking at the structure of the film, that second act is spectacular from beginning to end, and the third act is spectacular up until the end, and there's a couple of loose ends I did not like. The first act, we'll get back to it. But I will say something I had a problem with in the first act continued to unfold itself. It continued to reveal itself and become much more of a subtle, smart political commentary. It wasn't in your face, it wasn't shoved in there, but we start off with this looking like it's going to be another stereotypical brown people entering the country and blowing up the white Americans. And I still did have a problem with that portrayal in the first act, if I'm being honest. But it unfolds. We learn new things. It develops. You see the political agenda unfolding. And I thought that was actually really well done. So in looking at the negatives, unfortunately I do have quite a lot of negatives when it comes to this film. The first act, as I said, is not good. I have to say I already entered the theater a little bit sleepy, and that first act nearly did me in. It was just so much setting up. We're just setting up and setting up and setting up and explaining and blah 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 for the entire first act, and it just kind of got to a point of like, okay, we need to get into this mission already because I can't handle any more setup of this mission any longer. But furthermore, it did feel very much like, oh great, we're doing a movie about border control in which people are smuggling over the border to come in and explode Americans. Wonderful. As I said, that one helped itself. The other one actually got worse. Because the problem is I don't think this is Taylor Sheridan's best work as a screenwriter by a long shot. I actually think the script was not all that good, if I'm being honest. I think it was very sloppy. So we get all of this build up and all of this setting up of this really convoluted plot in that first act, and it's inconsequential in the end. You leave the theater thinking, what was even the point of having that big old plot and that long plan? Because it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. We also have several character-specific subplots that don't really go anywhere. One in particular that I thought was not earned was between Benicio del Toro and this little girl who kind of is part of our adventure here, is part of the story. And they get a connection made between the two of them that never felt earned. It never felt fully developed. So thus, the kind of payoff and the decisions that are made because of it in the third act, they didn't work nearly as well as they should have, because it was kind of like, really? And actually, there's a lot of unexplained why did these characters make these decision moments, particularly in that third act. Between the Mexican police, one of the kids that we follow in his subplot, he makes a decision randomly in the third act. A lot of things just kind of happen to throw wrenches in or to give us this kind of convenience, and that's mainly why I think this was a bit of a sloppy script. And again, you have this whole plot, this whole convoluted scheme that we're following, and it really means nothing. Plus, I hated the actual ending. And I really didn't like, actually, a backtrack choice that was made. We have a really bold scene in the third act that I thought actually was amazing. I actually thought it was raising the stakes. I thought it was fantastic. But then a choice is made off of that scene that I liked, that I didn't love. And then we get to that very end scene. I wasn't a fan, and I wish we could just kind of cut that out, to be honest. So overall, I think if you enjoyed Sicario, if you like that atmosphere, if you're into these kind of like smuggling underground drug cartel style films, I do think you will find plenty to like in Day of the Soldado. I do think that there is good enough filmmaking in here, it is good looking enough, and it has those tense moments. But just don't go in expecting as good of a film as that first one, because this is heavily a step down. It's no masterpiece. It's not great by any means. So that's why I'm going to give Sicario, Day of the Soldado a matinee. I think it's worth checking out, especially for fans of the first. Just, it definitely missed the mark in quite a few categories. So, that is my review of Sicario, Day of the Soldado. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead, click like down below, and subscribe to the channel so you are always up to date on our latest videos. Also, join in on the discussion. Are you excited to see the second Sicario film? And what did you think of that first film? Let me know either in the comment section down below, or you can hit me up on Twitter. I love you all so much for your support. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!